3 keys to significance. Now, those of you that were around last year, actually before I step into this, because, no, I'm not going to step into that. I'm going to step out of that. Last year, Todd was very, very eloquent in allowing you to understand his 3 keys to success. Those of you that were around, what are they?
It's in the manual.
It's in the manual, on the website. What's your plan for distinguish? Okay. I'm a big advocate of significance, not success. Allow me to share. Success to me is something that is temporary. I always consider success as the beginning of failure. Hear me out. If success was getting through the ceiling, and you got through the ceiling, where are you? On the floor, the next level. And now you got to do it again. So whenever you reach success, you've got to do it again. So will you ever actually achieve success? But significance is immeasurable. You can't measure it. And that's what we attempt to look at. You may call it the soft side of success. I call it the most powerful access from a human being. Because when you become significant to someone, it's extremely powerful. So there's 3 keys. You may feel there's 4, but I'm Cuban, I can count the way I want. The 3 keys to significance, I'd like to start off with number 1. People. In this room right here, there are some people that I'm very grateful to actually be on my team. Belinda Kent, for example, has taken on Starburst editor. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Donna Stoltz, right here, is District Director Assistant. Yes, District Director has an assistant. My good friend, Michelle Wilkinson, in the back, past District Governor, decided to jump in and become one of my area directors. Thank you. As did Sylvia Cook, who did it last year, and Denise, you were an area director a while back, weren't you? And you have jumped in again. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I have an accomplice, Mr. David Habowitz, who I hate his guts when we're out and about doing exercise. And he gets me out there no matter what, but I said, you want me out there sweating and being tired? You're going to be an area director. What's that? Don't worry about it. Trevor Moyes, the district administrative assistant, came to me at the last conference, and he had a Sea Scout uniform on, and he said, I want to be on the district team. Then I'm looking at a kid with a Sea Scout uniform, and I said, I don't think I got a spot for you, but tell me more. He says, I want to be on your team. I said, okay. I said, what are you thinking? And he said, administrative assistant. He asked. And thank you very much for stepping in. I appreciate that. Julie Randall, who can't seem to find things to do, was division director last year and will be chief judge and a melee chair, and is going to fill in by title as an area director in Division D. Yeah. Jim Tracy, and could I say Dr. Jim Tracy?
Jim is fine.
Yeah, Jim is fine, okay. Jim Tracy was one of the first ones that signed a officer agreement form when it even came out for next year. And I had actually sent him an email and said, hey, Jim, I have somebody that will want to take your area. Could you move? Would you be so kind and to take another area? He said, absolutely not. That response is what I expect from people. Not the not person part, but the part that you're honest and to the point. Be direct. That is so critical. Back to my key. People. Without people, what do we have?
Thanks. We got thanks.
Yeah. So everything's about people. And as Eric said, you're going to have some conflict. As KC, I call Catherine Cheatham KC. And you don't mind if people call you KC? Not KFC, but KC? Just, all right. Was all about teamwork. And Molly was very eloquent in her sharing. And it was all about people. People is the number one key element to any part of significance. What part of people? Every part of them. Because people come over progress. It comes over prizes and it comes over presentations. We have an instruction manual on how to become excellent district leaders. But it's all for naught unless the focus is people. Unless the focus is about officers that we're serving, members that we're serving. It's irrelevant. The number one aspect is that people come over everything. Everything. And that's why I want to know what kind of chocolate bars you eat. What book are you reading? What movies do you like? I really am interested. Now, key point, I want to bring this in. Over a year ago, when I was considering the spot of coming into as a PQD, or PQD, or Program Quality Director, I sat down with Eric Vaughn, and I said, what's the secret of being a successful Program Quality Director? He says the secret to anything is knowing people. He says, the reason, now understand, Eric Vaughn was also the last district governor of our district that was distinguished. And that was in 2010. I don't say that to blow sunshine up his derriere, but I say that primarily because it's possible. It was possible several years before that. And it was all because of the people. And Eric told me something that I share with you right now. He says, know what people, what chocolate, what candy bar they like, and what soft drink they like. And make sure you have it at every single day. Now imagine if you walked in and your favorite candy bar is there. I'm not saying that that'll happen, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try my darndest, but I need to know what it is. Fair? You should do the same with your officers and find out what they are like. This is more than numbers. It's more than the progression of our DCP points, which I'm going to get into a little later. It's more than anything that can be measured. It's about people. And that's the number one key that we have. Do I have a lot to learn? Absolutely. On how to work with people, how to communicate with people. I still have a lot to learn, which, as from your perspective, I want to learn from you. And I open up right now. If I, for some reason, offend any of you in any way, shape, or form, I need to know that. Right up front, not in public, but I like to know. Because sometimes my enthusiasm gets away from me. And I want to make sure that that never happens. Is that fair? And would you allow me to do the same with you? So we had this interactive communication. Now we start caring about each other. Fair? Key number 2. Some people will say, oh, that's 2 keys. No, it's 1. All right, yeah, it could be 2. You can call it the 4 keys of significance, but proliferate and promote. The 3 aspects of what I believe is the vision, is the how we're going to get where we want to go, is information. Everyone should have an R1D2 messaging sheet. If you have not looked at it, you can look at it during lunch. You'll be talking about it, actually. It has gone out to all the melee chairs so that when training occurs during the melees, it's highly important that we have a universal messaging in addition to the role understanding that goes from Kent to the Canadian border. That people who are being trained in Bellingham understand the same aspects as what they know in Kent. And this is just an outline from a district perspective that it's important for us to have information that travels. It's important for information to actually be used. All too often this last year, I would get a phone call or an email, hey, when is such and such an event? I said, well, your president got the information. Oh, she never shared it. Information is so vital. It is a new currency. Proliferate it. Promote information. We proliferate passion, fun, and excitement. But we promote information, events, education, and leadership. So if you get an email from a district officer of some sort, first of all, read it, please, as soon as possible, and then pass it along. Now, my email structure, I only try to do 96 minutes a day. I'm a 96-minute person. Who knows that? Who's read that book? Who knows Pareto's principle? The 80-20 rule? Now all hands go up, right? Yeah. 80-20 rule. You get 80% of the work done in 20% of the time. 20% of the people do 80% of the work, yada, yada. 96 minutes is 20% of a full day, of an 8-hour day. So if I take a focused 96 minutes, I then can make sure that I have a productivity on one particular task that will extend 80% of my time by only contributing 20% of it. It's happened over and over and over again. And I'll share that later on at other decks, how you can become more proficient in that. The idea, though, is email works, but sometimes it takes a while to get back. Text, which is why in that questionnaire, I really want to know how you like to be communicated with, as Eric was so good to demonstrate. I really want to know, because I'm going to put that in my phone and in my computer. And if I'm to connect with you, I'm going to first find out, oh, this person only wants to communicate at night, in the evening, and they'd rather have a text. Boom. That's the way I'll communicate with you. And that's the way leaders will learn how to communicate with you. Like you saw in the video, what was it, 3 phone calls, 4 phone calls, and nothing. Well, obviously she doesn't get phone calls. But she read that email right away. Didn't respond, but she got it. She read it right away. That's the objective. I like to know how that communication works with you. How do I communicate? How does the team communicate with you? So that once that communication hits you, how are you going to communicate with the officers of the clubs? Which is your job. And then encourage them how they are going to communicate with their membership. Imagine if a message, we're giving away a new car, and it goes out to division directors, but it has to be given to the person, a member that has joined in the last 30 days. Division will spread it out to area will spread it out to officers will spread it out to members. I like that to occur in 24 hours. That information just runs through. Do you think that's possible? Do we have doubters? What would be an obstacle that would not allow that to happen? Anyone? Yes.
Somebody on vacation out of country.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's valid.
Busy with work, busy
Okay.
you're not able to receive messages.
Okay. Now, if an area director sends their emails, let's say you have 5 clubs, how many emails would you send out? 35. 7 officers per club. So if one of them is on vacation, so you should have an all-hands email where you can connect with people quickly. Does that make sense? Last but not least, the third key of significance, potential. You will see in the number 2 item in that R1D2 messaging that it's about identifying with clubs, with your officers, who are some of the up and rising superstars. Everybody has a potential of doing something greater than they ever really imagined. We just have never given them an arena to do that in. Think about it. You're now entering into an arena that apprehension could set in because you don't know how you're going to do. But as soon as you find out that I can be pretty good at this, now what more would you do? And that's where the magic happens. When we uncover the potential that's inside every single one of each one of us and all of the officers that are there. How do you uncover potential? Make sure people understand that anything that they do is failure proof. Failure proof. Did I say poof? Failure proof. How to instill fearlessness. What's an example of fearlessness? What do you think an example of fearlessness would be in your position? Yes?
Pick up the phone and talk to somebody that you've actually never personally met.
No, we can't do that. Is that a fear for some people?
Yeah.
Talking to another human being? Do we remember key to significance number 1? Key to significance number 1? It's about people. Talk to people. Understand that they're looking to talk to you too. Maybe not right then and there, but the officers of the new clubs, or the new officers of the clubs, they're scared. They've been either nominated or elected to do something they're concerned about. Sure, all the information they need is in the book, as Todd said last year. It's on the website. You can figure out how to be anything. But the idea, though, is to connect with people. And it's one of the most difficult things that most people see. But here's where innovation, aspirations, and personal recognition really, really excels. If you can actually make someone feel like they matter, what do you think they'll do for you? So I'm encouraging each new area director, within the next several days, we're going to get a new club officer list. Find out who those officers are. All 7 of them. Most of your communication will probably be with the president and VPE. I have an incoming area director who already visited 3 of his 5 clubs, Mr. David Habowitz. Which is really interesting because he just visited them. And apparently somebody already is asking for help, assistance. And David's like, how do I do this? Come on Saturday, we'll figure it out and we'll talk. But the idea though is get to know people, get to know the officers, get to know who they are. Within the next couple of weeks, it's going to be really interesting. Within the next couple of weeks, do that. Find out their phone number, their email. Find out how they communicate. Get to them. If you get to them now, what's going to happen when you have to do a contest in the next several months? Would it be a lot easier for them to respond to you? It would be, because they know you now. And it's not just you walking in to do an area visit or monitor what they're doing or anything. You're just trying to get to know who they are. Okay, can I get an affirmation that everyone here is looking to do that? Yes? Thank you. I really appreciate that, because I'm going to try and do it with every one of you. The trio is going to try and do that. Division directors are going to try to do that with their area directors. Area directors should be doing it with their officers. Officers should be doing it with their members. Do you agree? What would this district look like if that happened? If all of a sudden we were all a group of people instead of numbers? What would happen? Would it be possible for us to become President's Distinguished next year?
Piece of cake.
Yeah, it would be. Now, we're not shooting for President's Distinguished. Let's just be the people that we're supposed to be, and President's Distinguished will come. It just makes sense. Is that fair? I leave you with one thing and one thing only before we break for lunch. That's my mantra. Release the Kraken inside of you with the 3 keys, right, 4 keys, 3.682 keys of significance. People, proliferate, promote, potential. And you will be surprised what happens with your abilities to communicate with people. You'd be surprised what happens to your area or your division. Because imagine if everybody became open to inviting people to contests and to clubs. And that happens when we create a culture of touching base with people. That's what happens. It's not about the numbers. It's about people. You hungry? Let's eat.